The saddest aspect of life right now is that science gathers knowledge faster than society gathers wisdom. That's Isaac Asimov. And it feels incredibly relevant today, doesn't it? Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a really critical look at a recent, just catastrophic event, the Texas floods. We're going to be drawing heavily on an in-depth report from The Guardian, which honestly pulls back the curtain quite a bit. Our goal here, as always, is to unpack the complex web of factors behind this. Everything from the climate science involved to policy decisions, public reactions. It's not just about following a news story. It's about getting those vital insights, especially useful if you're preparing for exams like the UPSC, needing that context for current affairs, or frankly, if you just want to be truly well-informed about the critical issues shaping our world. So we'll give you the details, the context beyond the headlines, those nuggets of knowledge you need. Right, let's start with the immediate picture, the catastrophe itself. This flood hit central Texas in the early hours of July 4th, Independence Day. And the human cost is just, devastating. 129 people confirmed dead. And that number includes, tragically, at least 27 children and counselors from Camp Mystic in Kerr County. And what's worse, over 160 people are still missing. Authorities are warning those numbers are likely to climb.
It's difficult to really convey the sheer intensity. At Camp Mystic, for instance, rain gauges measured 6.5 inches. That's 16.5 centimeters of rain in just 180 minutes, 3 hours.
Wow.
Just an incredible deluge. And beyond the human tragedy, which is immense, the economic damage, estimates are between $18 and $22 billion. Billion, yes. That's what, 13.2 to 16.2 billion pounds. It puts it right up there with the worst natural disasters in Texas history.
That amount of rain, the impact, it's staggering. So what started as apparently a small storm caused such widespread destruction?
Well, the Guardian's report, it points out that this storm system basically stalled. It stopped moving right where two rivers converge in central Texas.
Oh.
And that caused a sort of bottleneck. The rivers burst their banks, sweeping away homes, cars, and then tragically hitting Camp Mystic so hard. The reporter, Oliver Millman, he described it as a toxic cocktail of elements coming together.
A toxic cocktail. That's a strong description. And it brings up the big question, right? Climate change. How much of this, according to the report, is linked to the climate crisis?
That's really central to the analysis. And the science is becoming, clearer all the time.
Yeah.
As the planet warms up mostly from burning fossil fuels, the atmosphere can hold more moisture. One expert Millman spoke to called it like a giant sponge.
A giant sponge.
Exactly. More moisture plus more energy in the system from the heat, it leads to these more extreme precipitation events. Heavy, intense rainfall. And there's data backing this up. The EPA, the Environment Protection Agency, reports that if you look at the 10 heaviest single-day rainfall events in the U.S. since 1910.
Yeah.
9 out of those 10 have happened since 1995.
9 out of 10 since 1995.
Yes. And research specifically confirms these kinds of events are getting more common in Texas, and they're projected to increase as warming continues. It's also, a stark contrast to the western U.S., which has seen more drought. It highlights these regional imbalances.
So it's not just more rain, but these really intense, concentrated bursts. Okay. But the climate isn't the whole story here, is it? The article mentions local geography playing a big part too.
Absolutely crucial. Central Texas, where this happened, it's hilly, lots of canyons, lots of rivers. But here's the key thing. Very little topsoil.
Okay, and why does that matter so much?
It means when heavy rain hits, it doesn't soak in. It just runs off the ground incredibly quickly. There's a reason parts of it are nicknamed Flash Flood Alley.
Flash Flood Alley.
Right.
Makes sense.
So that geography just massively amplified the effect of that intense rainfall.
Okay, so we've got climate change amplifying rainfall and geography making the runoff extreme.
Mm-hmm.
But the Guardian report also points fingers at policy, specifically the Trump administration's hollowing out of federal agencies.
Yes, that's another ingredient in Millman's toxic cocktail. The report details significant cuts to the federal workforce under the Trump administration, and that included scientists, weather forecasters, crucial people.
Mm-hmm.
This apparently left National Weather Service offices, the ones tracking storms, issuing warnings critically understaffed. The report also mentions the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE as it was known.
Ah, yes, the one Elon Musk led for a time.
That's the one. Democrats are apparently calling for an investigation into whether its cuts played a role. Critics are saying these reductions definitely impacted vital agencies. Now, the Trump administration's stance, according to the report, was to dismiss this. They called it an act of God, said resources were adequate.
But there was a warning issued, wasn't there?
There was. The National Weather Service issued a warning at 1:14 a.m. on July 4th, a dangerous flood conditions warning. But the disconnect seems to be in the coordination, getting that warning translated into action evacuations, resource mobilization. The report suggests cuts to federal coordination services might be why that didn't happen effectively.
So a warning existed, but the system to act on it might have been weakened. That's concerning. And what about specific political actions? The report mentions Texas Senator Ted Cruz.
Yes, this is quite a specific point Melman raises. Just a week before the floods hit his state, Senator Cruz personally added language to a big Republican spending bill, the one signed by Trump on Independence Day, actually.
Okay, and what did that language do?
It removed a $150 million fund, a fund specifically meant to improve weather forecasting at NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
He removed funding for weather forecasting a week before a historic flood in his own state.
That's what the report states. It also notes the bill included other things, cuts to social safety nets, healthcare, clean energy support, alongside tax breaks for the wealthy. But the timing of that specific NOAA cut, well, the irony is pretty stark, and it's raised a lot of questions.
I can imagine. And the broader Republican response?
Largely involved praising Trump, according to Millman, and generally avoiding questions about the impact of DOGE or those specific funding cuts.
Right, so let's shift to the reaction on the ground in Texas. Has this huge disaster actually shifted public opinion or political discussion about, say, the climate emergency or these policy issues?
The immediate reaction, as The Guardian describes it, was mostly disbelief, devastation, thoughts and prayers, and also a strong community response, people helping each other out, which is typical and heartening.
Sure.
Millman notes people were mainly stunned, though some local officials did start questioning the warnings they got from the Weather Service. And there was also local criticism about a decision made earlier to scrap plans for an early warning flood system along that river because it cost too much.
So local decisions playing a role, too.
Definitely. But then you also saw some other things emerge in the aftermath. The report mentions far-right groups showing up claiming to do disaster relief.
Oh?
Yeah, and apparently openly stating in videos they were prioritizing supplies for their people, European peoples. Quite a disturbing detail.
Yeah, that is.
And then, almost inevitably, the conspiracy theory started.
After a disaster like this, yeah, seems common.
Right. Influencers on the right, even elected officials like Marjorie Taylor Greene, started questioning the cause. Was it weather modification, cloud seeding? And Millman makes this really critical point. The irony is we are modifying the weather. It's called climate change. It's just not in the way the conspiracies imagine. His overall observation, which feels quite bleak, is that people increasingly seem to live in their own realities, sort of sealed off from facts. So a disaster like this doesn't necessarily change minds. It just reinforces existing beliefs. And that leads to political paralysis.
That's a really sobering thought. Sealed off realities. Political paralysis.
Yeah.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, our listener, whether you're studying for something like the UPSC or just trying to stay informed? I think this deep dive really shows how a catastrophe like the Texas floods isn't just, a natural event. It's this complex intersection of climate science, yes, but also geography, policy choices, big and small, and then how it all gets filtered through public discourse.
Exactly. And connecting it to the bigger picture, it just hammers home how vital critical thinking is now. You have to be able to navigate the sea of information, understand the real-world consequences of decisions made at federal, state, even local levels. Understanding these layers, climate, policy, local factors, media narratives, it's crucial for grasping the impact and, frankly, for separating fact from fiction.
We really hope this exploration has given you some significant insights. Again, really valuable context if you're prepping for exams like the UPSC, tracking current affairs, or just aiming for a deeper understanding. And hey, if you have more questions or thoughts, please do like, subscribe, and comment on this deep dive. Your engagement really helps us keep bringing these detailed analyses to you. We've definitely covered a lot of ground, giving you a lot to think about. But the learning never really stops, does it? So, here's a final thought to take away, something to mull over. When we see these undeniable scientific trends, these recurring disasters, how do societies bridge that gap? The gap between knowing something scientifically and actually taking collective action, especially when we're dealing with such entrenched beliefs and deep political polarization. Think about what really stands out to you from our discussion today.